Hello and welcome to RSEA Park in Moorabbin for round one of a new era of under-18 football. The NAB League competition kicking off. Today we're bringing you the Sandringham Dragons and Calder Cannons as our first match for broadcast, and we'll be following it up a little later today with the Eastern Rangers up against the Oakley Chargers. But the first match today, the Sandringham Dragons and Calder Cannons. Dragons fairly strong as I welcome Rick Morris to the broadcast today. How are you, Rick?
Looking forward to this, Matthew. Great to be part of this NAB League broadcast. We have called the under-18s over the years, but this is they're hitting the big time now, these boys, aren't they?
They certainly are, and of course you can catch all the action through the NAB League app, available through the Apple Store or Google Play Store. You can get all sorts of live stats, live vision for every boys game across the competition as well throughout the year, with broadcast commentary across selected matches as well. As we take a look at the team lists for 2019 for round one, Sandringham Dragons. New talent manager for them as well this year, Mark Wheeler, joining the club after winning the premiership with the Dandenong Stingrays last year, Rick.
Yeah, that'll be a big acquisition to them, Sandringham. Mark's been around the system for a long time and tasted success last year, so he'll be able to transfer that over to the Dragons. They've always been a strong leader in this competition. They do tend to lose players during schoolboy games mid-year, but they always seem to find a way, Sandringham, so they'll be competitive again this year.
A couple of the names to look out for include Jack Mahoney, who is a 2019 AFL Academy listed player. He's a small to medium-sized player, good kicking efficiency, and he's part of the Dragons leadership group. Yes,
he'll be one we'll keep a definite eye on, Jack. 177 centimetres and 71 kilos, so lightly framed, but yeah, definitely a real goer. Also keep an eye on the captain, Ryan Burns, who's a nice size at 80 kilos and 181 centimetres tall. Anyone else that you've picked out there, Matthew?
Just quickly across to the Calder Cannons before we get the bounce underway. Daniel Mott, highly rated amongst the Cannons list, played 16 games last year, averaging around 19 touches a match. New talent manager also for the Calder Cannons in 2019, Tom Lonigan, replacing Ian Kite, who was a long-serving member of the Cannons, Rick.
Yes, many years Kitey was in front of the Calder Cannons and led them very well, so big changes around the competition.
Thanks to our NAB League partners, NAB, naming rights and principal partner, Open Universities Australia, our education partner, Telstra, our digital partner, Puma, our apparel partner, Rookie Me, our testing partner, The Bar Counter, our nutrition partner. Great to have all of them on board for a brand new era of under-18 football. It is round one of the NAB League. Sandringham Dragons, Calder Cannons, Rick Morris to get us underway.
Big tap out that time by O'Sullivan. Gets it down. They'll work it forward, Calder towards centre half forward. Jostling for position. They get it out into the open with a couple of clear handballs. Out to the outer wing. And we've pinpointed a pass. Dragons move it forward quickly. Out to the outer side, half forward, but intercept in the way there. Can't quite get away. Good aggression from the forwards there of the Dragons to hold it in around forward 50. And we'll have a ball up to make their first real attempt on goal. With quite a lot of players surrounding this ball up. Just outside 50. No clear winner. They're hacking it inside 50, and we'll have another ball up.
Good little crowd in attendance here at RSEA Park.
Especially that outer side hill out there. Great spot for footy. They'll kick it down towards full forward. Up they go, big fly. It lands in the Cannon's hand, but great tackle. And that was a brilliant tackle. Was that Bowman?
Corey Watts, I think, was the one that was dragged into the turf for the Cannons.
And Bowman was the tackler, and he'll have a shot on goal. Just gave him no escape.
My apologies, it was Ty Browning.
Ty Browning, who we've seen plenty of. So we'll line up from 35 metres out on about a 50-degree angle. Riley Bowman for the Sandringham Dragons comes in. Shoots for goal, keeps it low, and it's through the middle. First taste to the Dragons. That's one goal straight. First score of the game, and we're only a couple of minutes into this call.
Riley Bowman, an interesting one, has followed Mark Wheeler across to the Sandringham Dragons after winning the premiership in 2018 with the Dandenong Stingrays. In that grand final, he had 13 disposals, 6 marks and 22 hit-outs. So an impressive young man as a 19-year-old gets another chance in the NAB League competition.
Most definite.
So Dragons with the first on the board here at RSEA Park. 2 minutes into the opening term. Big fly there from O'Sullivan in the middle for the Cannons. Unable to extract it was Mott, and we'll get another stoppage. Hardly a breath of wind here in Moorabbin today. Burns, the skipper for the Dragons, was caught, dispossessed. Scrappy footy in the middle. Eventually they win the clearance. Burke out wide. Dragons send it towards half forward. Bouncing ball. Handball comes to McGuinness. Just trying to work away there. Hanrahan still on the half forward flank. Cannons now caught, and we'll get a ball up just outside attacking 50. The umpire settles himself. Gets us back underway. Jack Bell in the ruck for the Dragons, trying to stamp his authority, but was unable to. We'll get another ball up. Still half forward flank. That time the fist from O'Sullivan for the Cannons. And another stoppage. Over to you, Rick, to try and break things up.
Try and clear it out for you, Matthew. Outer side, half forward flank for the Dragons. Up they go. And thumped down by Bell. They're trying to break away. Plenty of packs already in this game. They're all eager to get a taste of the footy. Outer side wing. Bit of paddling going on out there. It'll eventually end up in the hands of Bergman, who tries to work it clear. He gets tackled. They sling it forward. Calder down towards inside 50. Battle between the defender who gets it away and didn't clear it. And all of a sudden Butler found it. Now they'll clear it down towards centre wing. Or diving attempt, slips catch. Didn't quite carry. Picked up by O'Leary. He gets tackled. Or gang tackling all over here, and the umpire will have to come and sort it out.
Very scrappy start to the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dusting off the cobwebs.
Keen to get amongst it, that's for sure, Matthew. And they'll play on straight away. Again, we've got another pack forming. What will the umpire do here? He's going to ping him. Holding the ball goes the Dragons' way. And taking it, McGuinness goes down towards half forward. Up they go. Spoil to ground. Around 50. High tackle. And they'll play on. Swaying up the options. Wants a lead. He'll have to go deep to the pocket. Just allows the defender in to spoil over the line, and out of bounds it goes.
This is Angus Hanrahan that tried to send it inside 50 then for the Dragons. Another 19-year-old on their list. Played 7 games last year in the under-18 competition, returning to the Dragons lineup. So it's tossed back in. Again, a lot of players around the footy. Scrapping for it is Curtis Brown for the Calder Cannons, and yet another stoppage. Inside 50 for the Sandringham Dragons. Again, scrappy stuff. Mahoney falling over the top of it for the Dragons, and yet another stoppage. As we go down to the boundary and welcome Siobhan Rowe for the first time today.
Just a quick injury update. Cody Brand from the Calder Cannons is sucking in the big ones on the boundary line. Not sure what happened, but he is doing some laps along the boundary, so fingers crossed he's okay.
Thank you very much to Siobhan Rowe, who is patrolling the boundary for us in this opening match of round 1 of the NAB League competition. As we'll get a boundary throw in. Still inside attacking 50. We've travelled 6 minutes in the opening term. As the Dragons finally get a bit of clear air. Finally get a clear air there. Finn McGuinness, the goal kicker there for the Sandringham Dragons. They've got 2 on the board now. The vice-captain coming from East Brighton and will be playing with Scotch College, no doubt, throughout the season, Rick.
Yep, and they've had most of the play, haven't they, the Dragons? It's been around their 50 for quite a bit already in this game. Cannons only really reaching their 50 on one occasion, so they'll just have to get their work rate up a bit, Calder. But Sandringham, in most of the play at the minute. Now we've got a change in the ruck here. Luckins goes in, 201 centimetres, big boy. But we've had a little bit of a delay with the throw up. Ball up.
The non-officiating umpire on the Sandringham's forward line, I think they're just resitting the 6x6x6 rule.
Just another job we've got to keep our eye on, Matthew.
Yep.
Good that they've brought it into this competition as well, though.
Anthony Riley just making his way down to the Cannons forward line.
Up they go. No clear winner in that ruck knockout. Players come from everywhere. They work it out. Little handball out to the side. Back in the middle it comes. They're trying rugby style really to work it out of there. Good aggression from Calder not to allow the Dragons out. And we'll have another ball up in the middle of the ground. Up they go. Tapped down that time by Courtney in the ruck. It's sharked away nicely by Burns. The skipper gets it forward. He's got Marnie on the drive. Goes down towards goal. And we've got a mark just on the line. And we've got a good view of this one, Matthew. And nice take by Dean. He'll do the screw around the corner. It's not a difficult shot, really. He'll come around and put it through. And another one to the Dragons. That's their third. And they've taken a nice little margin at this stage in this first quarter.
Another one of the Dragons that's on the 2019 AFL Academy list, Charlie Dean, and played cricket for the firsts for Wesley College during the summer. So fairly talented athlete by the looks of things.
Yeah, there's probably quite a lot more that are talented at multi-sports, especially with the schoolboys these days.
Bit more talented than you or I, Rick.
Maybe.
So Dragons out to an 18-point lead. 9.5 minutes into the opening term, as they'll again win the clearance towards half forward. Mark taken here by Jake Bowie. Just goes inside 50. Kick didn't reach its target. Up against the boundary line. Dragons don't concede. Bergman sends it into the pocket. Just bounced out of the grasp there of Jack Bell. Over the boundary line and out of play. So
coming in a fair way from the boundary throwing, aren't they?
They are. The umpire resets. Tosses it in. Cannons again under siege. And the umpire's picked out a free kick. It will go the way of the Sandringham Dragons for a trip, I think the umpire indicated. And to take it will be Darby Hipwell. The Sandringham Dragons. Comes from East Sandringham. So with Brighton Grammar. One of the youngsters for the Sandringham Dragons in 2019. Comes in. That kick, a little helicopter into the pocket. And Cannons take the mark inside defensive 50.
That was a real shank, but nice mark to Cadillo in the back pocket. Stood his ground. Now they'll drive it out of their Calder. Can't quite penetrate that half-back line. And that's back with Hipwell now. Moves it forward, dribbles it along the ground towards boundary. We're in the back pocket for Calder, who went without it. There's a chance to get it out, but good defence by the forwards there of Sandringham. They're harassing him beautifully. That was a good little smother in the end that time by Bowie. And we're beside the behind post here, so they did very well there, the Dragons. Keep it in. Again, that's a bit different side of the game we're seeing. The umpire coming in a long way to throw it in. Tapped it forward. Calder with numbers. They'll boot it out of there, but it's all Sandringham. They'll take the mark in Josh Worrell. Goes inboard to centre half forward. He's got the lead. And a nice grab. The big arms go up. They plucked it out of that pack. And we'll just get a look at this player here. That was a nice grab.
I think it might be Miles Bergman. Yep, that's taken the mark.
Yep, nice grab. Just stood his ground, good vertical leap. And he'll have a shot from 40 metres out, almost directly in front. And Bergman comes in and just to the right, through for behind. 19-0 at the minute.
Bergman, another player that's on the AFL Academy list for 2019. They've got a few, the Dragons, 9 in total, plus 2 17-year-olds on the level 1 list. So a fairly talented crop for Sandringham, as the Cannons will get a free kick. Half-back flank on the outer side in the hands out there of Harrison Jones. Chips it very short. Cannons trying to possess the footy down the outer side. Oh, they've coughed it up. Door opens up now for the Dragons. Receiving the 1-2 was Butler. High ball towards half forward. Contest comes to the deck. Good tackle there applied by Cartwright. They try and shovel the handball out, the Calder Cannons. Unable to. McGuinness coming through for the Dragons. They've retreated almost into the centre of the ground. Kick not the greatest, but will work out okay. Sending it inside 50 now, Oscar Lewis turned it over. Mark taken by Jack Keeping inside defensive 50 for the Cannons. Cooks the kick. Another chance to reload. Hipwell. Vacant goal square just offline, and another minor score for him. 3-2-20 the Sandringham Dragons. Calder yet to hit the scoreboard in this opening round clash of the NAB League competition. A reminder to download the NAB League official app from your app store for all things to do with the NAB League boys and girls competition in 2019.
Brown storms forward, but we've got an intercept here by Burns. I'm liking the look of him already. The skipper of the Dragons will boot it down towards the forward pocket. He's got Bergman again and takes a nice grab. He's got good arm extension, hasn't he, Miles?
He certainly does. Averaged 3 marks a game in his 7 games last year for the Dragons.
Definitely a key figure down there at the minute. So he'll have a shot from probably 35 out on a fairly acute angle. Outer side of the ground. And a little right, that one. Long way right, through for behind. Doing all the attacking. Sandringham Dragons. Just falling down around that 50-metre mark when they're trying to clear the Cannons, and they'll work it out with a little chip kick. They do that pretty well.
Just getting it beyond this point. That's where they've come unstuck.
Now we've gone a low pass, and they've found someone again out that outer side. They'll work it further. Just weighing up the options. They don't want to turn it over. They'll kick to a contest. Over the back it goes. They get it out to centre wing, and out of bounds it goes.
Should also mention that you can follow NAB League across all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and head across to Instagram at NAB League for a little behind-the-scenes video of the broadcast going to air today. Dragons caught from the boundary throw-in. Cannons to get the free kick. Centre wing, outer side. Long ball towards half forward. Their first entry inside 50. Couldn't get a mark. And the Dragons will be able to rebound through McGuinness. He misjudges the kick. Cartwright now sends them inside attacking 50. Calder, they've again turned the ball over. Mark taken by Jackson Voss. Comes out wide. Of course, Jackson Voss is the son of Brent Voss. Played 35 games for Brisbane and 135 for St Kilda. They've come inboard now. Worrell got it across to Lewis. They've worked it well here, the Dragons. Kick from Hanrahan inside 50. Great mark in defence, though, by Calder to bring it wide. Strong arms again from Josh Worrell. Traps the ball in. Sitting over the top of him is Max Simpson. Will get a ball up. Half-forward flank on the grandstand side of RSEA Park here in Moorabbin.
No clear winner again in the ruck contest. Seen several ruckmen so far in this game. And there's a free kick picked out this time to Cadillo. He'll go down the line towards centre wing. Big pack forms. There's a little nudge out and the free kick going the way of Bell Bartles. He'll drive it inside or around that 50. And great intercept. Courage shown that time by the Sandringham player in McCasey. He'll go further out wide to Butler. He runs out of trouble. They seem to be doing that pretty well. Couple of handballs over the top. Can't quite gain possession and we'll have a ball up. No, he's holding the ball. Good to see. It's probably a rule they could improve on this year, the holding the ball.
Yep.
And that's good to see they're paying it. Punch down the front of the pack. Calder with numbers. Again, allowing it. Cardillo, they'll get it through. Out wide now. They can't break away. Good pressure again by the Dragons forwards. Working it out of there, but again, they'll try and flick it out the side. Good smother. Cracked out of there by Mott. They bring it to ground, the middle of the ground. Now we've got one over the top. They ignore that. They'll go back to Mott. He runs around as if he wasn't there. Gets it inside 50, and that's over the top. Just spilt the mark there. Would have been a great play. Gentile, who we know is a capable player and very good little ball user. They bring it to ground. Centre wing again. Might have been in the back, but the umpire said no. All up. We're at centre wing, grandstand side of RSEA Park. Quick thrower. They bring it to ground. Kick forward. Just hugging the boundary line at the minute. Eventually works its way over.
That was their first real opportunity inside 50, wasn't it, the Cannons, for this opening term?
Yeah, they broke away beautifully, Mott, and speared the 50-metre kick, and it was just missed by Gentile inside 50.
So boundary throw in. No real advantage taken from the contest. Handball fed out wide, though, to O'Sullivan for the Cannons. Was able to get it across to Simpson. Heads inside 50, bouncing ball. Again, Dragons with numbers to mop up. The handball, they nearly came unstuck, but now they're okay. Clearing kick outside of defensive 50, no good. O'Sullivan didn't take the mark. Umpire said play on. Up against the boundary line, Daniel Mott sends it inside 50. Off hands. Making up for his mistake a little earlier, Ned Gentile, unfortunately, couldn't get it through as a player's spotlight from the opening term. Finn McGuinness has been impressive so far. Dragons come unstuck with the kick back into play, running out of space there on the outer side. Just trying to pick up who that was for the Cannons, but unfortunately couldn't get another attack inside 50. 20-point lead to the Sandringham Dragons. We're nearing quarter time in this round one NAB League match.
Ball in. Inside 50 for the Cannons. Let's see what they can do this time. It'll be cleared by the Dragons outer side at half-back. They'll work it back inboard. Worrell's been busy. Gets it inside to another player in Burns. He'll run through the middle. He'll go inside again. They've just got too much time at the minute, and he's picked out his man Bergman inside 50. And he'll chip it across, and they can go all the way here if they wish. And that they do, and put it through the middle. We'll just pick up that player, Matthew.
Angus Hanrahan looks like he's on the scoreboard for the first time today.
And he just found that space, and unselfish there by Bergman. But a bit too much latitude given. And that takes them out to a 26-point lead, the Dragons over Calder.
Hanrahan is another 19-year-old. Mark Wheeler told nableague.com.au that he's the best forward half ball user that the Dragons have, and just got a sample as to why he thinks that. There's a little bit of a breeze begins to pick up here at RSEA Park. Dragons again win the tap down. Mahoney on hands and knees, unable to extract it. The umpire says, "Give it to me, I will ball it up." Tossed back into the air. They'll win the clearance here, the Dragons. Put it out in front of Bergman, who had to soccer it in front of himself. Then came under pressure. Still fighting for it, Bergman was impressive. Fed the handball to Burns, the skipper of the Dragons. Mahoney now again diving in on top of the footy. Pops out. Tackle applied by Josh Worrell. The umpire says, "Give it to me, I will ball it up." Should also mention that the Dragons have a new coach in 2019 as well. Jeremy Barnard departing the club at the end of last year. Josh Burke taking the helm of the Dragons in 2019. So we'll get a ball up. Forward of the centre wing, outer side for the Dragons. Lead by 26 points, approaching quarter time. Cannons, geez, that was a dodgy looking handball there. Under all sorts of pressure. The tackle was laid on by McCasey. They've been able to soccer it forward. Just lacking a bit of class at the moment in this opening term, both sides. 2-on-1 favouring the Cannons. Knocking the ball to ground was Tom Cartwright, who's an impressive player, Rick.
Yes, he is. And just mentioning the skill level there, the Cannons have just had those couple of opportunities, fumbles at crucial stages when they've been in the clear, that they've just got to pick that side up of their game and to get some flow in the play. Now they'll shark it away, the Dragons again, and go inside 50. Over the back it goes. They'll paddle it forward. Shark nicely, O'Leary. Runs around on the left, pinpoint pass.
Oh.
Great play by the little fella. And he's found his man again. And this time Riley Bowman will shoot from the boundary. This is a difficult one. He's got to decide whether he wants to go the straight drop punt here. This looks like he is.
Good old-fashioned footballer.
And
maybe you should have gone the other way.
no, I like that.
Traditionalist.
It's an easy enough kick if he connects. Through for behind. Yeah, let's see what Calder can make of this. Big thump towards half-back. Up they go. Big long arms of Courtney. What's the umpire doing here?
50 metres.
Encroachment, was it? So we'll have a shot on goal.
That'll be, it's costly for the Cannons. Bit of ill discipline.
So the big tall fella, do we trust a 200-centimetre player from 20 metres out, Matthew?
I'm not game enough to put my put it on the line.
Come on, big Andrew, nail it. He comes in, not much of an angle, and he made us work, but he's put it through, the big fella. Well done. And that gives them a very handy break at quarter time here. Sandringham 28 to the Calder Cannons, just a soul behind. And how did you see that unravel, the first quarter of footy?
Just the 5-4-34 just updated there on you, Rick.
Okay.
It was an interesting interesting quarter of football, as we mentioned. Not really clean, but it's what you expect from the opening term of footy for 2019. Dragons on top, as you would expect. They've got the stronger of the two lists here today. Cannons scrapping it. Like to just get a bit of clean-up as well. Head back down boundary side. Siobhan Rowe has the talent manager of the Sandringham Dragons, Mark Wheeler.
Yes, I'm here with the newly appointed talent manager of the Sandringham Dragons, Mark Wheeler. That was a dominant first quarter, especially restricting them to 1 point. I thought especially your tall forwards got involved in the game early. What were your initial thoughts on that quarter?
Yeah, it was probably a little bit shaky at the start, but we're the lucky thing for us, this is where we train, so the boys are probably more comfortable in Calder, so we know they're going to come back. But yeah, definitely happy with our talls to be involved and our midfield to get involved in that pretty early.
So you've come across from the Dandenong Stingrays last year winning the premiership. What's it been like, the transition to come from Dandenong to Sandringham? How have you found that?
Well, I think they're all the same, so yeah, big in numbers and to deal with the private school system, so there's more private school boys here as well, but the systems are the same, so you have 12, now 13 regions across Victoria and one in Tasmania, so yeah, exactly the same, kind of just put your brand on it, your stamp on it, and then just start rolling up the sleeves and go to work.
And for the viewers out there, what players can we look out for in today's game that you found have performed really well in the pre-season?
Oh, there's lots of players out there, there's lots of hype, so you don't try to individualise too much, but Ryan Burns, our captain, and Finn McGuinness have probably been the two standouts, so really want to pump those two boys up because they've done everything that we've asked them to do on the track for the last 4 months, and Corey Watts, he's driving pretty hard last year, won the best and fairest as a bottom ager, so he's trying his hardest this year to get into that Metro squad, and I think from today showing he might get there if the ball gets down there.
And for the rest of the game, what are the areas of improvement that you found?
Yeah, probably just a little bit composure with the footy. We're rushing it a little bit, and so once we get it, we've got a bit of a mad ball game plan, so we want the ball to get in there quick. As you said, our talls are probably our strength, so we want the ball in there, two of them fairly quickly.
Thank you for your time and good luck for the rest of the game.
No worries, thank you.
Siobhan Rowe down there on the boundary with Mark Wheeler. Always great with his time. Wheels got a little bit emotional during the grand final last year, as you would expect with the Stingrays winning their first premiership. And now guiding the talent at the Dragons. Quarter time here in this round one NAB League match. 5-4-34 the Sandringham Dragons. Calder Cannons just the minor score. A reminder to download the NAB League app via the App Store or Google Play. Features of the app include live champion data stats for all NAB League boys games, post-game champion data stats for NAB League girls, champion data stats leaderboards for both competitions, live streaming for all boys games with commentary for selected matches plus replays, post-game replays for all girls games, and links to all the NAB League Club social media accounts. And whilst we're speaking about social media, make sure you follow, like the NAB League accounts across Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at NAB League. And for the boys competition, use the hashtag NABLeagueBoys. And a reminder that if you check out the Instagram story, any idea what that is, Rick?
We'll be on one of those, I think.
Apparently.
Okay.
We got recorded a little bit
Let's hope
earlier.
it didn't get deleted in between the time it was put up. But looking forward to the coverage this year, especially. There'll be a lot of social media promoting it, and so it should be. These boys are, the main players that are going to be looked at when it comes draft time this year. We got a good look at Sam Walsh last year, and I think you didn't have to be too cluey to work out that he was going to go number one, and already stamping himself in the AFL. So it's a great breeding ground for the AFL, this NAB League competition. New
era of under-18 football.
Great crowd there at the huddles. That's what we like to see at these games. And, it's still cricket season with a lot of local comps playing grand finals, but isn't it a warm day for these boys? It's close on 27 today.
And a bit humid too, a bit sticky. Hopefully we're able to miss the showers that are forecast for a little later today.
Now, we do have a play of the day and that we'll touch on throughout the game, and that is through Open Universities, our education partner, and I'm already getting that one out. From Bergman out to Hanrahan was a nice little move forward in the way they did that. It was our leading player of the day at the minute. Like the way Bergman's gone about his work early in the piece, inside 50. And moving through that middle section of the ground, hasn't the captain, Ryan Burns, looked a class act? Yeah,
certainly showing a lot of potential, and we heard Mark Wheeler talking him up a little earlier before. You mentioned the plays of the week there, Rick. You can log on to nableague.com.au for the plays of the week, which will be combined this year for the NAB League boys and girls. So they'll be putting up exciting marks, goals from all the matches across the week. And check out the plays of the week. And as you said, thanks to Open Universities Australia. Kickstart your education goals by visiting open.edu.au, our education partner here in the NAB League.
And also our digital partner, Telstra, who have backed this competition. They'll be great partners throughout the year. Apparel partners, Puma, hoping to see some of that along the way there, Matthew. They'll be keeping a lot of the NAB League outfitted, no doubt. And someone we're familiar with, Rookie Me, the testing partners at the... when will they come into play mostly, Matthew, you'd think? Rookie Me.
They did have a test a couple of weeks ago out at Maribyrnong. So all clubs, I think, were involved in the testing on that day. I'll try and bring up some results to read out over the broadcast today. They are the official testing partner of the NAB League and the bar counter and nutrition partner of the NAB League, as long with the naming rights and principal partner NAB supporting the under-18 competition. We just saw a shot of Calder Cannons coach Ross Smith there. What do you think his instruction will be to the group for this second term?
Yeah, well, I thought there were signs there where they did get it out in the open and they worked it out of their back line quite nicely, but they just fell down in some skill errors. So they just got to be a bit more patient and take the ball before they run with it, grab it and make sure they've got possession. Run a bit more in numbers as well through the middle. We found that, they were a bit one out in occasions and they got gang tackled. So they've just got to get more numbers around the footy, Calder.
So about to get the second term underway here at RSEA Park in Moorabbin, home of the St Kilda Footy Club and also where the Dragons have been training during the summer. Beautiful ground now that it's refurbished. As the umpire gets ready to get us underway for the second term, over to Rick Morris to get us underway.
Umpire starts off this second term and Courtney with a nice palm down to Hipwell. He got collected on the way through and we'll have a ball up in the middle of the ground again. Now a quick free kick paid to Hipwell. They'll go wide, inside 50. Over the back it goes. Calder to mop up and kick long towards the centre wing. They bring it to ground nicely. Pack of players around this one. It pops out the back. Bit of pickpocketing going on there. No one able to win clear possession. Little flick out the back. Eventually it'll go to a marking contest here. Oh, up they go. They bring it to ground. Again, more numbers for Calder. Opens up play. Brings it down towards centre half forward and a nice mark out in front. Gentile gets it inside. Again, the delivery not sharp enough. They'll work it out of there, but holding the ball was the call. Fair call too. And a good tackle by Watts. He'll drive it towards half back.
Good talking.
And good work to Hanrahan there. They could raffle this one, and nice take by Worrell, who's looked the goods so far. He gets it off to Lewis. He'll stream towards half forward. He hooks it a bit to the left and through for a behind. That was a bit too easy, Matt.
Yeah, very easy for the Sandringham Dragons. Not a lot of pressure being put on by the Cannons, and again they're falling down across half forward. Had an opportunity which they didn't capitalise on, and they haven't capitalised here either. Hanrahan sends it inside 50. Ball off hands. Cannons under all sorts of pressure. They're able to get a clearing kick. Bouncing ball centre wing. It'll be seen over the boundary line and out of play by Josh LaGrice. A 34-point margin. Sandringham displaying their dominance early here at RSEA Park. Finished 2018 in fourth spot, 11 wins, 7 losses. Going down in the preliminary final to the eventual premiers of the under-18 competition, the Dandenong Stingrays, by 42 points. And again, fancied to be strong this year, although as we heard Mark Wheeler say at quarter time, schoolboy footy will have an impact on them throughout the season. Cannons have made their way to half forward. Kick from Flanagan was smothered. Tries to follow it up. Ball just popped out of his hands. Dragons get it back to LaGrice. His kick smothered. Cannons up against the boundary line. Graham. High ball inside 50. There's a whistle for a block. And it will go the way of the Oakley Chargers inside defensive 50. Jackson Voss to take it.
So Voss in the back pocket, gives it straight back. And they'll go long down the line. Over the back it goes. Calder with a chance here. They've got numbers. Little handball inside 50. And a nice move that time by Graham. Gets it inside. And we've got a mark. The first real attempt on goal. And this is Ben Rigoni.
Comes from Seymour.
So Ben will kick from 30 metres out on probably a 45-degree angle. Not a difficult shot. Comes in and goes right.
Just leaned back a little bit, didn't he?
So they've got to make the most of them.
Played 7 games last year in the under-18 comp, Ben Rigoni. Kicked 4 goals across those 7 games.
So Jackson Voss to bring it in. He'll boot it long. We've got 2 against 2 here, and the big fella didn't let him down in Watts. He plays on straight away, but he'll turn it over at half forward. And that was a nice intercept that time by Calder. They'll work it clear. They've got a man here in Graham. He goes wide. A bit of a fumble by Brand. That fumbling's what I touched on early. And it's just crucial. I know it's early in the year. We can give him a bit of lenience, but if I was the schools coach at half time, I'd be kicking footies at him from 5 metres away, Matthew, and saying, grab that and hang on to it. Now they work it out of there, Sandringham. I've said that a couple of times. Taken away. Nice work by Lewis. And there's a mark in the pocket.
Big Charlie Dean by the looks of things.
It's a fair way from our broadcast, isn't it? That's a nice sized ground. And that's Dean, well spotted. And he goes wide and through for a behind. So there's a bit of a margin at the moment in the second quarter. 36 plays 2.
I reckon you mentioned the skills. I reckon goal kicking might be on the agenda at half-time too. They've just lost their accuracy in the back end of that first term and the start of this second one. Cannons again under pressure. They've got some players free though. They hit up Harrison Minton-Connell, centre wing, broadcast side. Kick up along the line was punched out of play by Butler. Minton-Connell is another one that's fancied for the Calder Cannons with some potential. Son of Simon Minton-Connell, 19 games for Carlton, 46 for Sydney, 22 for Hawthorn and 25 for the Bulldogs.
Kicked a lot of bags at full forward, Simon Minton-Connell, and at 178 centimetres, a lot shorter than his dad.
As we'll get another stoppage on the centre wing. Dragons win the tap down. They're under pressure. Here he is again, Minton-Connell. Cute little kick. Tried to get it into the hands of Jones. Handball into space. Turned over. Intercepted there by the Cannons as well. It's scrappy footy centre wing broadcast side here at RSEA Park. Players diving in on top of the footy. Surely the umpire's going to come in. Finally he does. Tackle laid on by Josh LaGrice. 183 centimetres and 80 kilos. Josh LaGrice played 4 games in the under-18 competition last year, averaging 16 disposals and 4 tackles a game. For the Dragons, again, it's scrappy, frustrating football. Long kick now into a bit of space. Getting back there is Brodie Newman, the skipper for the Cannons. They work it wide. Ends up back in the hands of Newman. Long ball to centre half back. Punched out of the hands by Bowie. Got it to ground. Following it up there, Hanrahan. Offline, dribbles over the boundary line and out of play.
So Dragons attacking. Haven't dropped their intensity at all this quarter. Just tapped it over the back. Good tackle. Again picked up by Worrell. Like the way he's worked his way through the game. But there's a free kick picked out and holding the ball. So they'll bang it towards centre wing. Couple of bounces picked up and moving forward down to a one-on-one, but a nice intercept there in the middle by Butler. He works it inboard. Burns will just wait on a lead. That's not coming. Now he gets one and he pinpoints the pass. Over to Bergman. He'll flick it over the back. He's got Ralph Smith. He'll get it again and give it inside 50. And a nice mark out in front, that time O'Leary. He'll bang it towards the square. Up they go. Good fist over the back that time. Nice work by Jones to nullify that. They'll play on straight away Calder. Down the middle, that's better work. They'll just work it towards the outer side. Oh, beautiful diving mark out there. Nice take out in front, Kemp. Good delivery.
Just needs to find a target with this next kick.
Yep, didn't do it.
No.
And the turnover.
Been the tail of the first half for the Calder Cannons, breaking down forward of centre. And when they have had opportunities, they just haven't been able to take a mark inside 50.
So I'm not sure why they brought him back, but they'll play again. They've got loose men out here. They'll straighten it up here. And McCasey, he goes wide. And Corey Watts, who was the best and fairest winner last year, strong defender. Over the back. Oh, that was pinched that time. Nice work by Brown. He'll spear the pass beautifully that time to Harrison Jones. Back inside. That was about a 14.5 metre pass, that one. And a nice take by Regaley. They'll play on through the middle. Just holding it up. Dragons able to get the numbers back. But they're not willing to lose possession there in that play. That's what I liked about it. Calder. And up they go over the back. It's in the forward line. But it'll be cleared quite comfortably here. Nice work. Mifsud gets it down towards the centre of the ground. And that was taken by Newman, who gets it forward. Here's a chance for them. They get it to hand. Over the back it goes. We've got a shot on goal. Nice little snap. Hits the post. Just like the way they worked it a bit easier that time, Calder.
Cardillo missing the shot, but they set up very nicely when the Dragons tried to get out a defensive 50 the last time around, and it looks like they've done it again here, the Cannons, just restricting the movement of the Dragons, although when you say that, running free in the middle is Mahoney. Goes to centre half forward, big kick inside 50. Dribbling ball, handball over the top, searching for Bergman as a free player out wide in Burke, who slots it.
Nice little dribbler. He had to go the dribble kick because he had a player coming through, so I think that was the right option.
Great work there by Nick Burke. Part of the leadership group at the Sandringham Dragons in 2019. Local club is Beau Morris and also aligned with Haileybury College in 2019.
So a big lead in this game in the second quarter here to the Dragons. They'll go into half-time with a nice lead, you'd imagine. Tapped down nicely by Courtney. Couldn't quite break away. And we'll have a ball up in the middle.
Do you think the Cannons just need to slow the game down when they've got the ball in their hands, Rick?
Well, they did take that option there, their last attacking move, and it seemed to work for them. Now they'll try and clear it here, the Dragons, but good numbers from the Cannons, held it up. Nice little work. They get it forward. Here's an opportunity if they can get it out the back door, but they've overrun it, and it'll be cleared again. Out wide it goes. We've got a race on our hands. 2 against 2, and eventually it works over the line.
Again, just unable to capitalise going forward, the Cannons. They're almost missing just that big centering target. They seem to have a lot of mid-sized players hovering around inside 50. As the ball is a hot potato on the centre wing, eventually comes the way of Flanagan. Dish the handball backwards to Keeping. Under pressure there was Hipwell for the Dragons. They've got it inside 50. And a big, strong mark by Riley Bowman, premiership player with the Dandenong Stingrays. Came to the Dragons along with Mark Wheeler for the 2019 season. And he's been impressive early, Rick.
Yes, he has. Good long arms as well. And that was a nice kick. I think that was by the Ruckman Bell there.
So Bowman comes in and puts it through for his second of the match. Round 1 of the NAB League competition here at RSEA Park. And the Dragons are in firm control. Looking ominous for the rest of the competition, although, as we heard Mark Wheeler say at quarter time, they will be impacted throughout the season with the schoolboy footy. There's a lot of players on their list that will be coming in and out of the side, so they really do have to start the season well.
Yep, and that they are. You can see some class within the lineup already.
Heading down to the boundary line now with Siobhan.
Just a quick injury and conditions update. Sam Graham from the Calder Cannons has had both of his knees taped up, was getting a bit of work done on the boundary line and is now doing some run-throughs. And the conditions are very hot down here at ground level. Plenty of ice towels going around the neck, so certainly hot conditions.
Now there, you'll nearly get a kick there, Siobhan. Nearly interrupted that interview. Or that little boundary cross. So the throw in front of the camera there. They'll bring it into play. Tap down to the front. Well done, Mott, to get it out. They'll clear it through Hipwell, who's been busy. Over the back it goes. Here's Marnie. Gets it on the left, goes forward. Oh, fumble again at the crucial stage. But they've got numbers to back up here, Calder, and can't break away. Yeah, clean footy's got to be the order of the day for the Cannons. They just fumbled far too often. If they take that footy, they're off and running. So the ball up's 20 metres out. No one went up for that one, but they'll clear it, Calder. And this will be intercepted out wide. Lewis takes the mark. So Lewis will boot it towards the forward pocket. Up they go. And a nice mark out over the back to Calder. They'll play on. Now, they've got loose men everywhere here. If they can use it here, Calder. Now it'll be important handball over the top, and they do well. Get it forward again, and it'll find Cadillo in the middle. Good running. Excellent use of the footy. That's great work. Sutton's on the end of it. He's got a man over the back, and he's found him.
Brilliant from the Cannons.
Now they'll go in short. Didn't go 15, and they've mucked it up, but they've had a shot on goal. And just unselfish play, and the kick didn't go 15. It's cost them a goal.
It was beautiful footy right up until that moment. Should have taken the shot. I know footballers are encouraged to do the team thing, but they needed that goal, and that was their best opportunity yet, the Cannons.
And it's not the team thing if it's going to
No.
muck up the play. So we're in the middle of the ground now. Oh, big bump on Ralph Smith and the little fella in O'Leary who's been busy around that 50 metres. And he's found his man down there in Dean, who's a good foil, isn't he, for Riley Bowman?
Yeah, standing at 194 centimetres, 82 kilos.
So Charlie Dean, he's already got one. So he's kicking from round about the 45 area. Wouldn't think distance would be a problem today. He connects beautifully. Oh, that's straight through the middle. Lovely kick off the boot. And that's Jones, or Dean's second. And they're out to a commanding lead, 55-4 here. And we've still got about 6 minutes to play in this second quarter.
Charlie Dean, his local club is Collegians. Also hails from Wesley College. Described as a tall midfielder who can also play key position.
Yeah.
And, geez, that's...
Like
I reckon
to see
it's
him
the
in
ladder.
midfield.
Yeah. It's the ladder that we saw on display there. He's big unit. And as you'd say, he's doing incredibly well when Riley Bowman's not down there for the Dragons. Has... I'm just making sure that 6x6x6 rule is in play before we get back underway in the middle. Hot handball there from Lukens. Cannons, high ball towards half forward. Dragons at the fall of the ball. Voss. Oop, they've coughed it up. Sandringham have numbers. They try and get it to McGuinness, who was hovering. The umpire's paid a free kick. It will go the way of the Calder Cannons. About 80 metres from home. They load up. High ball inside 50. Watts unable to take it cleanly. Ball spills out the pack as it's dished towards the boundary line. Bell mopping up. Sends the kick short. Half-back flank on the outer side. Oh, in all sorts of trouble. Josh Legrice turns it over. Dragons able to intercept and get it across the face of goal. And exit 50 cleanly. Good mark taken. Centre wing broadcast side by Mifsud. High ball towards half forward. Ralph Smith. Had O'Leary in support. Now he's caught. The umpire says it was holding and a free kick will go the way of Hugo Ralph Smith. Oh, has a heap of options on that outer side. And Jake Bowie has taken the mark. Slight angle about 35 metres out, and that was a definite hold there on Hugo Ralph Smith from Ty Browning. Haven't called Browning's name too many times today, one of the 19-year-olds for the Calder Cannons.
Played a fair bit of under-18s footy, hasn't he, Ty?
33 games in the under-18 competition for Ty Browning, as Bowie's put that one out on the full. 19-year-old Ty Browning has kicked 15 goals across his 33 games. And will be looking to increase his kicking efficiency throughout the season as he returns to the Cannons list.
So they're at half back here and keeping. Gets it out wide. Spoil out the back, but they weren't able to keep it inside the line, and out of bounds it goes. Geez, a good crowd building up on that hill, outer side hill.
Be nice out there today. All the armchair experts there.
Is that their
Keeping an
latest
eye.
position, you reckon, Matt?
Yeah.
The recruiters? They'll work it inside 50, the Dragons, just paddling it forward. No clean options, and out of bounds it goes.
Similar sort of feel to Rams Arena with the crowd on that outer side.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's fairly spacious ground.
It is.
RSEA Park.
Ground in immaculate condition too.
Now they'll try and run with it. Can't break away. We've got McGuinness. Works it inboard. He's got Hanrahan who just throws it out the back. And Courtney gets all tied up and we'll have a ball up.
Can't afford to concede a goal in these last 2 minutes here, the Calder Cannons, even though they trail by a significant margin. Just get something out of this quarter, something positive to give them a glimmer of hope.
Tap down the front. Little chip kick around the boundary line, but it looks like it's gone over. And the relay free kick to Sandringham. They'll boot it up, big fly over the back. They bring it to ground. Calder getting numbers back. Should be able to clear it. That they do. Good spoil at the front. Just got numbers again, Calder, but they didn't further afield. And a shark by McCasey. Gets it inboard to Voss, who spears it down the line. And that is Worrell, who gets it inboard up towards full forward. Over the back it goes. Can they make something of this, the Dragons? They'll paddle it forward. But again, Calder doing well in defence that time. And they work it out nicely out of side. Martin goes inboard. And it's in the hands of Ned Gentile coming down the ground. Now back to centre wing, and a little fingertip by Hanrahan was nice intercept there to force it out.
So the Oakley Chargers making their way towards the rooms. That's the second of the double header here at RSEA Park, and you'll be able to catch that match live on the NAB League app immediately after this one. Chargers up against the Eastern Rangers. The Dragons, one last roll of the dice for the first half. There's a free kick going the way of the Cannons, so no further addition in the opening half of round one action here in the NAB League boys competition. It is the Dragons in firm control. 8-7-55. Cannons yet to kick a major. Goal kickers from the first half of footy, please, Rick.
Yes, let's hope we've got them all. We've got 2 to Bowman, Dean, and singles to McGuinness, Burke, Hanrahan, and Courtney. Have I missed any there, Matthew? And I think we've got a clean sheet for the Cannons at the minute. They've had a couple of chances, but haven't nailed any on the board. But definitely the key forwards are major influence on this game for Sandringham. Oh, there's the goal, or the second quarter
marks,
stats.
Ty Browning taking 3 marks across there. Jack Bell laying 2 tackles in that second term. Finn McGuinness again prominent as well.
Now, for the Open University's play of the day, I like the work of, it was nice work out the back. Bell to, was it Dean down there? Or was it, no, it was Bowman. Bell to Bowman was terrific play for Open Universities. That was the play of the quarter.
And a reminder that you'll be able to catch all the plays of the week on nableague.com.au during the week and across the NAB League app as well. Open Universities Australia Plays of the Week. Kickstart your education goals by visiting open.edu.au. And a reminder to download the official app as we take a break here from RSEA Park. It is the Sandringham Dragons, 8-7-55, leading the Calder Cannons 4 behinds. Welcome back here to RSEA Park, where at half-time it is the Dragons 8-7-55 leading the Calder Cannons 4 behinds. We're very lucky now to be joined up here in the commentary box by Kevin Sheehan. Welcome, Kevin, to another year of footy.
Oh, great. How exciting a first round it is for the new NAB League. A great innovation and an expansion of what has been such a fertile competition for the AFL itself. So many draftees, so many young stars have cut their teeth in this competition, and to see it raised to another level with the profile of the comp, the live broadcast of games, the live stats that we can all follow and see, to watch the youngsters emerge. And for some, we know them already pretty well within the business, but for others, today will be the day they get on the I suppose, radar of many of the clubs as potential AFL players. So very exciting for everyone involved, and all of the players in what is a magnificent venue here now back at Moorabbin.
And for the many viewers out there, just your role within this competition, has it changed? And what's your title these days, Kevin?
Well, talent ambassador, I suppose. Has it changed? Look, we'll run the national championships at under 18 and under 16 levels, so the best players out of these two teams will emerge in Vic Metro. So our job is to promote the competition, to select the squads. Later on, we'll pick an Australian under 17, an Australian under 18 side will play in April. So we're all part of selecting that particular group of players from right round the nation. Probably 2/3 of the players will play in the NAB League. We also take a great interest in the sides from Northern Australia and from Tassie that are playing in, well, both the NAB League and also it'll become Division 2 of our Nationals. So the 5 matches they'll play will count for points within that comp as a separate entity, so they can win a trophy as well. So next weekend we'll be up at Blacktown for that triple header. So there's so many elements to it, and it's a massive task for the AFL itself to try and find over 100 players a year good enough to come into the professional comp. So we're all part of that, to analyse it, to come up with ways in which we can more efficiently help both the state leagues produce the players and the AFL clubs identify them. So we're probably the men in the middle working in talent with the likes of Luke Power, those sorts of guys that is the head coach of the national program. Marcus Ashcroft, in addition to the team in the last 12 months. So there's some wonderful people working hands-on in ensuring that we have got the best possible programs to produce the players.
And you mentioned that the interstate influence, I suppose you could call it now, in the NAB League competition. It's also good to have Tasmania back full-time in 2019.
Yeah, fantastic. After a comprehensive review of what's best for Tassie footy, they've decided that bringing them back as the Devils, they've been the Mariners for a while in another life. They'd been in the comp for about 8 years, but that drifted out to being part-time. Now back as the Tassie Devils, they'll come into the VFL2 in the future, so that's wonderful to see. And Adrian Fletcher has returned, a guy that started his footy in Tassie, had a 250-game career right around the competition, has been in assistant coaching roles at AFL level for many years, back coaching the Devils.
Rick Morris to get us underway for this second half here at RSEA Park.
Out the back, and that was nice work to McGuinness, who gets it down towards centre half forward. Big fist over the back. They've got an opportunity early through Ralph Smith, who bangs it through and just offline, just veered at the last minute. But great passage of play. Could have been an Open University's player of the day, but unfortunately it was a behind, Matt.
Could have been. Hugo Ralph Smith, one that is on the AFL Academy list, Kevin.
Yeah, a son of Sean Ralph Smith too, that we've seen at Hawthorn, of course, in the past. Look, I love the way he moves. Wonderful size at 187, quick. A lot like Miles Bergman. They look a bit the same, the blondie-headed boys at the ideal size. And Finn McGuinness has been impressive today too. Another one that, well, it's the average height now of an AFL player, 187, 6'2", can play in 8 or 10 spots out in the ground. So those 3 boys have been impressive.
They'll work it towards centre half forward. Now here's an opportunity, an opening, but it closes up pretty quickly as O'Sullivan gets slammed, and we'll have a ball up just at half back now for Calder.
The other boy I've liked in this first half is Ryan Burns. I hadn't seen a lot of him last year, but when you see the C next to the name on the list, he's capped onto the side. He's obviously highly rated. You can see why. His clearance work, he's got the ball in his hands there now, was terrific in that first half.
Hanrahan will kick it towards the square. Over the back, there's clear space if they can get a kick on it. Just didn't have enough angle through for behind.
And that captaincy was voted on by the playing group as well, so that just goes to show how much respect that he has got amongst the Dragons
He's
group.
a nice mover through traffic, isn't he, through that middle of the ground from what we've seen so far. And they'll boot it out long. Over the back, nice judgment there by Jackson Voss, who takes the mark and boots it down towards full forward. Up they go, good spoil. They bring it to ground. Well, they run into all sorts of trouble, but Mott trying to get it clear. We've got an intercept this time, and it's worked in towards that forward line, but play-on's a call. Heavy tackling going there along the boundary line. Ralph Smith pushed in the back. Play-on's a call. They'll again try to clear it. They got enough numbers back to momentarily clear it, but the intercept at half forward by the Dragons, and we'll have another intercept, and they'll run it clear and kick long, but to no one in particular. We've got a race on our hand. Looked like a collision coming up, but he did well. Out onto the left, Worrell, who's been good all day, kicks it inside the forward line and just touching the behind post there. We'll have a throw in.
He has been good, Rick, hasn't he, Josh Worrell?
Fantastic.
The luxury of the 191 centimetre wingman at this level, hey? Beautiful mover. He could play probably well as one of the three tall defenders. Could play forward as well with his skill set and athletic ability.
It doesn't do your chances any harm, does it, when you've got that height and capability of changing positions. They'll work it out nicely here, Calder. And we've got it at half back. And little finger catch from Bell Bartles, who will move it on further to O'Sullivan. They'll work it down the line, and out of bounds it goes.
Mentioned in the first half, just the skill level, as you would expect for round one, a little bit rusty, a few nerves out there as well, no doubt, for the players.
Oh, Matt, we've seen that at AFL level, haven't we? There's been a few rusty out on the falls and fumbles and things like that. That's, well, everyone's at a pretty high pitch at the start of the year. You're wondering whether you can repeat what you did last year, whether it be AFL level or this level. So a lot of nerves, and there'll be those moments, but still been impressed by the intensity of this game.
It looked like they're getting a bit of work down on the bench. Sam Graham in a bit of trouble. Siobhan mentioned in the first half he was doing a few run-throughs along the bench as the Cannons are able to mop up here on the centre wing. Cartwright came inboard with the kick. Martin dishes the handball, again just a little wide. Cannons composed in the middle. They flick it wide to Daniel Mott. He's an impressive player, Kevin.
Yeah, he's been one of their best again today. A real pro in the way he goes about it. He puts the head over the ball. He's clean with his hands and a good user.
Cannons on half forward now. Ty Browning up against the boundary line. Kicks it short. Did it stay in play? According to the umpire, it did. Graham takes it.
I think it's Sutton, who's starting to get his hand on the footy. Jake Sutton up on the forward line.
Blonde hair. Playing havoc. As he, not a bad attempt, but just hits the woodwork and a minor score. So the Cannons move to 5 behinds. Yet to hit the scoreboard with a major. Kick comes inboard to Hipwell, half back. Kick smothered. Cannons trying to apply pressure inside 50. They cause the turnover. Jones, high ball back in the Sutton direction. Has 2 to beat. Did well. Able to get a hand away, and it's touched. Unfortunately there for the Cannons. Kick coming from Jacob Martin. Again, opportunities that they're not quite able to capitalise on. Dragons coming out of defensive 50. LaGrice puts it wide. Bouncing ball. Goes over the boundary line and out of play.
Ty Browning's had a change of number, I think. 33, I think he was. I'm trying to think what he was last year. Tap down the front. And Mott with the clearing kick. Getting more involved in the play now, the Cannons. Well, it should be mopped up in defence that time, Mackay. And they'll work it to the busy player in Darby Hipwell. He gets it over. Didn't quite hit his target. Allowed the Cannons to come in. And they should be able to clear here through Mott. Impressive type. And there's that man again in Sutton. He's got a man that was a beautiful pass around the corner. And he's got Harrison Jones there on 50. And you don't mind them going back and having a set shot here from 50 because they need one desperately, don't they?
Yeah, take on the responsibility, back yourself. You're within range, playing as a forward.
So he kicks it out to the right, through for behind. So they've kicked 7 behinds, Calder. Trail by 50 points, and we are 7 minutes in on the time clock.
Played 7 games last year, Harrison Jones, averaging around 13 touches and 3 tackles a game for the Cannons as they get another opportunity. And again, just a little wide with the kick there. Ben Overman.
Good intercept all the same, Ben. That was nice work. They're working harder at the moment, Calder.
It's the long kick back into play, and just on that, the rules from the AFL have drifted down into the NAB League as well, where you don't have to kick it to yourself to bring it back into play. What do those rule changes mean at this level, Kevin? What do you anticipate it to have an impact?
Well, it's interesting because the AFL at the other level, where they're 6, 6 and 6, have adopted a version of what had been happening at this level for a number of years, the anti-density rule that spreads the play out a little bit, allows for, I suppose, more Australian football type vision, I suppose, rather than seeing rugby as we've seen in recent years with so many around the footy. So the spread out of the players is replicated here with the 6, 6 and 6. Look, I think to be able to play them without having to kick it to yourself, you can, again, open the game up and allow those that can get penetration with their kick to get it to more like the centre wing. So there'll be a few more, I suppose, set plays that they'll be able to come into play if they've got a great kicker that will be the first user out of fullback.
Now they'll work it through. They've got a bit of space through the middle here, the Dragons, and they'll pump it forward and kick towards goal through Burns. And a beautiful finish by the captain, Ryan Burns, captain. And a nice finish through the middle from 45 on the burst. And that is our Open University's player of the day for the quarter and probably the match so far.
Definitely.
And Burns on the end of it on that occasion finished very well. He showed a burst of speed before just steadying to have his shot at goal. But we've seen him with his clearance work earlier on in the first half being very prominent through midfield as well. So he's one that's really pushed himself up with his performance today.
Comes from Beau Morris, also aligned with St Bede's College. Ryan Burns finished 3rd in the 2018 Club Best and Fairest for the Dragons as well. So a very credentialed player out on the park, the skipper for the Dragons in 2019. As another stoppage, Finn McGuinness, another name that's been put up in lights during the pre-season for the Sandringham Dragons, also vice-captain for them in 2019. As the umpires picked out a free kick. Advantage will be paid the way of the Cannons. High ball towards half forward. Chasing after it is Brand. Gets caught. High handball over the top for the Dragons. They're now caught. Chased down is Josh Worrell.
Intensity's picked up, hasn't it, from the Cannons? A bit more pressure around the footy, and they'll move it forward at half forward, not willing to rush it. And they'll go forward towards, spoil down, sees it driven away, and that'll be O'Sullivan again. Quite mobile, Kevin, O'Sullivan.
Yeah, and a lovely size boy too, 193, and as you say, that jack in the box too, very spring heel player.
Now they'll work it out nicely, but partially smothered there. Allowed the Cannons a shot on goal, but out of bounds on the full under pressure. And they'll pump it back into play here, Dan, or Sandy.
It's the Mark Wheeler influence.
It is. It's definitely part of it. They bring it to ground, but numbers for the Dragons. Hanrahan gets it out to Courtney. He just sort of hacked that forward. They bring it to ground, and now Finn McGuinness goes inboard to Hipwell, gets it back. A bit of an awkward kick out towards centre wing, but they've got loose man in Burke. He lost it, and it's taken by Browning. We know he uses it pretty well, and he does on that occasion, Ty. And Kemp will go forward towards full foot. Oh, up they go. Brought it to ground there, Jones, but cleared again just in time by Sandy. And it's hugging the boundary line. They'll pick it up through Ramsey and kick it down towards half forward, where a nice one-hander taken by Minton Connell. He'll go over the top, hugging the boundary, and they'll boot it forward towards goal. Have we got one finally? And we have. Sam Ramsey with a nice left footer from the boundary. Probably the most difficult shot they've had on goal all day, and they slotted it through. 9-9-63 to 1-8-14, and we're 13 minutes into this third quarter.
Yeah, great finish by Ramsey on that occasion, but yeah, they deserved that goal. They peppered the goals in the last 7 or 8 minutes, and we're missing some pretty easy ones, and then the most difficult one of the lot. It is his weapon, I think, Sam Ramsey. Lovely kick, whether he's playing through midfield or across half-back. A great finisher, and that was the boy from Gisborne, Maribyrnong Secondary College, has put him on the board at last.
Play down to the boundary line, Siobhan.
Just a quick injury update. Sam Graham from the Calder Cannons has been in the wars today. Unfortunately, in the second quarter, had both knees taped up, and in the third quarter, spent most of the time on the bench getting his groin rubbed, but in better news, he is back out on the ground. Plenty of players starting to cramp up, especially on the Sandringham bench as well.
Yeah, nice warm day for everyone out there today. As the Dragons have found a bit of space, Andrew Courtney pops it over the top. Ralph Smith now on the outer side. They've worked it nicely to half forward here, the Dragons, and they've found Riley Bowman again. Big man, 19-year-old, comes across from the Dandenong Stingray. Centering ball is good, and the mark is taken by Jack Mahoney on a slight angle about 30 metres out from goal. Actually make that closer, about 20 metres from goal. 177 centimetres, 71 kilos. Not much of him, but an excitement machine.
He is a noted goal kicker. Yeah, one of the most promising players, I think, they have at Sandy. Now there's Mahoney or Marnie. He's certainly on the radar of AFL clubs. You want an X factor. You want a point of difference. You want something you're special at. And for him, it's his speed. His goal sense as well is pretty special. Now, that was a sitter there, but he's normally electric around the stoppage, and has got that innate ability around the goals to find the opening.
So they're just setting up again in the middle. We've got a ruck change through Luckins going in against Courtney this time.
Wonderful to see Tom Lonergan go the full circle, if you like. We remember as a pencil-thin key forward at the Calder Cannons way back before taken by Geelong in the draft. And what a wonderful, inspirational career he had. And to see him come back now as the talent manager for the Calder Cannons is that full circle that he's completed. And it's going to be a wonderful asset to them and to the young men of that region.
Now, Burns has just spun around on a sixpence and found his teammate there in... that's not Bowman again, is it? No, that's Bell.
Big Jack Bell.
There's no shortage of tools on this ground today. Got some options to go into the ruck or deep in the forward line. So Jack Bell goes back and nicely off the boot and puts it through for another. So Sandy with a commanding lead. Calder 14. Is that right, Sandy? 69?
69, yep. 75 now, just ticking over.
And Jack Bell at 201 centimetres. He looks to even have another couple of centimetres growth in him. He's a boy of just the 18 years of age, just turned, of course, old Halbury boy. And is mobile, good below the knees. I've seen him play a little bit last year. And look like all of the taller players will take another 2 to 3 years to completely fill out. You'll probably see him, he's 76 kilos at the minute. He'd get to up into the 92s and 3s in the next 2 or 3 years. But he's got a lot of the attributes that AFL clubs want.
Finn McGuinness again won the clearance for the Dragons. Burke centering ball at the goal square. Cannons right up against the last line of defence. They're trying to escape, run down. There is Flanagan. Scrappy stuff inside, attacking 50 for the Sandringham Dragons. Will get another stoppage.
The coaching staff of the Dragons will love Riley Bowman's chase there. He didn't let up and finally got his man.
What does he need to work on, Kevin?
I think, again, Matt, he's a little bit like Jack Bell. He's a tall boy at 198. Probably seen the best of him. One of his best games for the year was probably grand final day, playing for the Dandenong Stingrays, but just lightly built in 198. So he's still got a lot of improvement in him. But that's a great sign to see him run someone down. He's a boy that can play in the ruck as well as a key forward.
He's just intercepted that ball as well and set up the goal, and let his player know about it. So good signs for defensive. You don't expect that from a tall forward.
Yeah, so keep working on his game. It's a longitudinal thing, I think, with some of the taller boys. Don't think it'll be as instant as the medium-sized midfielder to get your reward to get into the AFL. Keep working at it. It's a process. It will take 3 to 4 years. Hopefully he can get a spot by the end of this year. But if not, up through the VFL, just keep persevering. And the chance will come if you're ultimately, in the view of the scouts, good enough to get there.
Great example of that's Hayden McLean, I think, got picked up by the Sydney Swans in the recent past.
Absolutely wrapped for Hayden McLean that persevered in that way. And he'd also played well in a grand final at under 18 level for the Sandringham Dragons. I thought deserved an opportunity. Look, we all see things differently. Clubs didn't think at the time, so he's just persevered, pushed up into the VFL, and was about to play for, I think, South Adelaide, wasn't it? He'd gone over to the SANFL, and then finally through that opening that's now been provided in the pre-season where clubs can sign additional players, he got his chance just in the last fortnight to get up there to Sydney and pursue that AFL dream that's been with him for a long time.
And that NEFL competition's a good grounding for these players, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the State League, of course, up in New South Wales, Queensland. The NT play in that as well, so that's the Northeast AFL competition.
There's Burns. Again, clean kick towards the top of the goal square. Cannons turn it over, bobbling ball, a throw judged from the umpire. They take the advantage to Calder. Bouncing ball, chasing after it is LaGrice. Set up okay for him. Dishes the handball off. Dragons with a bit of space on the outer side. Kick comes inboard to Ryan Burns. Spins around. Has a couple of options.
Well, that was great vision by Burns and execution. You need the pair together, don't you? Many of us have got one or the other. But to put the two together, spot the target and then bury it. That was a beautiful kick. Lace out.
So, Jack, is it Marnie or Mahoney?
Oh, Marnie. Well, his dad, I knew his dad that come up through and he was a Marnie.
We'll go with Marnie then as he puts it on its way. And that one across to the right-hand side. Sandringham 82. Firm control here at RSEA Park. Cannons 1-8-14. Ship kick back into play to Cartwright. He'll go back across the face of goal. Kick a little too hot. Bounces into no man's land. Cannons keep it in play. They've put themselves under immense pressure. Burns again coming in to try and extract it. The umpire says, give it to me, I will ball it up. 4 minutes left in this third term of this round one NAB League match here at RSEA Park. Reminder that the Eastern Rangers Oakley Chargers match, which follows this one, will also be live streamed directly following this match. All matches live streamed through the new NAB League app. Make sure you download it through the App Store or Google Play.
So Keeping has it in the back pocket and he'll kick it wide. Spoil over the back, brings it to ground. Bergman trying to get out of the trouble zone. Now he gets it out and we've got a shot on goal that goes nowhere near the goals. And it'll be out of bounds and we'll have a ball in.
And of course, live on your app are your stats, what we haven't had before in the under-18 competition in its 27-year history. To see it live is brilliant. To see Hanrahan's the leading stats winner with 21 disposals at the moment. We talked of Burns. He's had the 18. They've been two of the leading possession getters on the ground.
Burns gets it and goes forward, but it'll be intercepted nicely by Martin. They've got space now if they can chip it out, but good guarding there. Sees the ball go inboard through the centre. Sutton paddles it forward, but taken away and pumped forward. Down towards full forward. Good spoil over the back. They're doing this part of the game all right, the Cannons, but this is where they're falling down, around that 50. And we've got an intercept mark this time by Lewis. His kick's smothered. Lands with Mott. Gets the 1-2. And they'll work it clear down towards centre wing. Bit of a race on our hands, but out of bounds it goes. Any other key stats there, Kev, that we could take out of it?
Brodie Newman, look, we should have mentioned him, the captain of the Calder Cannons, been impressive across half-back. He's been the leading possession winner as well, but love his potential for bigger things down the track. Oscar Lewis is one that's bobbed up for me, the number 36. He's another boy of, 189 centimetres who can run. The old Brighton grammar boy. Liked his work today.
And that was nice work by Mifsud, who kicked the last goal. And he's given an opportunity here to Dean. So Dean will have a shot. Now this will be a straight drop punt, I'd imagine, Matt.
I think so. No breeze or anything to hamper here. It's just all about the kick.
He's got a set routine, I can see that. He's marked the spot about, I suppose 4 metres away from the man on the mark. So will that be the spot he delivers it from? So we've got a very set routine.
So he comes in, he's about 35, 40 out from goal. Bit of an angle. We're right behind this one. And he connects pretty well. And he held his line. Lovely goal. Nice kick for Dean. Charlie Dean brings up his third. And Sandringham 88 plays 14, the Cannons.
And he did kick from that spot he'd marked on the ground, right from the spot.
Okay,
the important
well
thing,
spotted.
look, not everyone has got the same technique in kicking for goal, but have a routine. Have something that you like, that you've practiced, that you've mastered, that you spend a lot of time on. So it becomes second nature to you when you're in front of goal, that you're not nervous. You've done it many, many times. You've gone over it in not only in your formal training, but informal practice as well. Particularly if you play up inside 50, you've got to be able to finish the game off. And you can see that Dean can do that with. He's got a terrific set shot for goal.
Kicked one goal in every quarter as the siren sounds for three-quarter time here at RSEA Park. Sandringham 13-10-88 leading the Cannons 1-8-14. Just watching Hanrahan having a conversation there. Some of the staff down along the boundary line.
The one we'll have to watch is Sam Graham. He's gone down on a couple of occasions, hasn't he, with the knees and the groin. So a bit of Darren Creswell's about him, of a bionic man.
Yeah, and he's one of the 19-year-olds in the game. It's terrific that boys that were on the radar last year in their 18th year, like Browning and Graham, get the opportunity to come back. Hanrahan, another one that was tested in the mix to get drafted. But the AFL clubs have a lot to do with the selection of those 19-year-olds back in the comp. They're the ones that they want to see again. They still think that they've got some chance to get into the AFL. And over the years, many 19-year-olds have been taken. And their pathway may well be to play some games at this level and then push up to the VFL as the year unfolds. So there's no one way for everyone. There's lots of pathways to get through, and those 19-year-olds certainly are pursuing their chance to play in this under-18 competition, particularly in the early part of the year.
And you mentioned that there are multiple different pathways. You only have to look at Gibbons for
Mick
Carlton's.
Gibbons.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal story, isn't he? So much perseverance, success at VFL level, it finally gets an opportunity.
Yeah, and at a different role too. He's playing that small forward role, very tough role to play. He's been used to playing through the midfield, but what he will give you is everything, heart and soul and commitment, and putting pressure on as his role, as well as to get a goal or two. And it's wonderful to see him finally get the chance. And he had a wonderful supporter in Willie coach Andy Collins, who'd pushed him up for so many years and couldn't believe that he wasn't getting the chance, and very unselfishly prepared to lose his best player to go up to get his chance at AFL level. Knows that that's one of the focuses of Williamstown Footy Club. One is to win the premiership, the other is to ensure that always there is a pathway for young players, particularly later developers even, that can still get into the AFL. There should be that be their dream.
We might take a break here on our NAB League Round 1 coverage. It's the Dragons in firm control over the Cannons. Welcome back to RSEA Park for the final term of this opening round clash between the Sandringham Dragons and the Calder Cannons. A big thanks to Kevin Sheehan joining us during that third term, providing some great insight into the new NAB League competition. We must mention a big thanks to all of our NAB League partners, the naming rights and principal partner NAB, Open Universities Australia, our education partner, and also looking after our Plays of the Week, the Open Universities Australia Plays of the Week. Kickstart your education goals by visiting open.edu.au. Plays of the Week will be combined across both NAB League boys and girls, so check out nableague.com.au during the week. Also, big thanks to Telstra, Puma, Rookie Me and the Bar Counter, all partners of NAB League competition in 2019 as we get this final term underway, Rick, and the Cannons have started well.
They did until that handball saw them force it back into the goal square under pressure, and the ball goes out in the full, so we'd like to see a shot on goal here. I think the player's looking to back himself in. So just hugging the boundary there, we've got Charlie Dean. As you said, kick goals in each quarter. So you'll have to go on the left here and have a snap. That one's not going to get anywhere near it. Now we'll have a shot for goal. And it's through for a behind, going by the reaction.
Miffs it again, having a shot. He's been a live wire in this second half for the Dragons.
So here, Calder with the footy at half-back. Work it down towards centre wing. A nice take out in front that time, Overman. He'll go inboard, but that didn't hit it up. They're in under pressure here through Mott. Mott gets it out, but they couldn't break away in time. Calder paddling it forward. Underneath it there, Calder. And we'll have a ball up, centre wing. Quite a number around this ball up. And tap down. Heavy traffic, but they work it through. Good handball by O'Sullivan. Oh, we've got trouble here, but got his kick in time. Cardello down towards Sutton. He taps it forward. Now numbers again through Watts. Sees the clearance. Calder will repel that all the same and bring it inboard. And a nice mark on the forward 50 by Bell Bartles. It's too far out to score. He's found Sutton in the square. He's got the jump on him, but had to bring it to ground. Over the back, we'll have a shot on goal. Around the corner, through for a behind.
Harrison Jones again with that shot.
The endeavour's definitely picked up in the second half by Calder. The class of Dandenong, or Sandy, showing through. Got the Sandies and Dandies on the tip of my tongue today.
So ball's back into the middle. You can blame Riley Bowman for that, I think.
Yeah, as well.
And Mark Wheeler as the Cannons turn it over and send it inside 50. Just bounces wide for Cody Brand out there over the boundary line and out of play. A reminder to check out the NAB League social media channels, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. All you need to search for is NAB League. And for the boys competition, you can use the hashtag NAB League Boys. And also a reminder to download the official app for all live stats for all NAB League boys games, post-game stats for all NAB League girls games. They're into round 3 this weekend of their competition. Live streaming of all boys games, including select matches with commentary, which we've got the 2 here today for you as the Cannons unload towards the top of the goal square. McCasey getting back for the Dragons takes the mark. Lewis on half-back goes inboard. Handball searching there for Ralph Smith in the middle. Just gets out of the grasp of the tackler. Courtney, high ball inside 50, ball off hands. Dribbling towards the boundary line. Still an opportunity here for the Dragons. If they can take it cleanly, they do. Burke weaving his way through traffic. Has support up against the fence. That'll go in the Open University's Plays of the Week. Fantastic goal by the big man, Riley Bowman. Open Universities Australia Plays of the Week. I reckon that'll be going in at Rick. Kickstart your education goals by visiting open.edu.au.
Yeah, and a great finish by Bowman there on the boundary. Kick around the corner and did it nicely. And he's definitely one to watch, Riley Bowman, throughout this NAB League competition. Just a lot of class from Sandringham on this field. It's not hard to spot the real prime movers, is it?
No, they've got plenty of talent out on the park, the Sandringham Dragons. As I mentioned before, 9 players on the AFL Academy list, plus 2 17-year-olds on the level 1 list.
Incredible stats, really.
They had 6 players drafted last year, the Dragons, including the King brothers, Bailey Smith and Liam Stocker, a couple of the other names that went on to AFL lists last season.
So they're tackling in the middle of the ground almost, not quite there. There'll be a ball up just inside the centre square. Sandringham attacking. So it's flipped out the back and sharked away by Butler, who dribbles it inside 50. On the end of it here was Marnie, who sprays it and might end up in someone's backyard with that sort of kick. But they'll take it in the back pocket now and play on. The umpire will say, no, get back over your mark. That's another part of the game we've never quite understood, having to get behind your mark in the back pocket.
Taking time off the clock to get it back. All quarters, 25 minutes, no time on in the NAB League competition. This has been standard across the under-18s the last year or so. Finn McGuinness takes a good grab. Half forward. Chips it into the pocket. Fortunately turns that one over. Brown in defensive 50 for the Cannons. Decided to send it backwards and across the face of goal.
And here the stops on the ground there. Looks like the Oakley Chargers there, or
yep, they're.
Or is it the Rangers? We've got blue tops that we're not familiar with.
Either or. They'll be coming up next on the NAB League app. Live streaming here from RSEA Park. Chargers and Rangers next up for you following the conclusion of this match as the Cannons flick it wide. And just taken high there was Curtis Brown. Centre wing. Chips it short to Simpson. Very short. Work it to Daniel Mott. They'll try and come wide again here, the Cannons. Simpson up against the boundary line. Maybe just over-possessing the football at the moment as Ramsey goes inside 50. Good, strong grab taken in defensive 50 by Lewis Butler.
I didn't mind the use of the handball there. They've just got to get better at it, so I don't mind them taking on and trying to be a bit creative. So it's what they need to get right, Calder. Out of bounds it goes, centre wing. So out of side, where all the deck chairs are there. Beautiful day for footy. Nice and warm. Boys might lose a kilo or two in this game. So it's driven forward, but it'll be intercepted that time at half back, and it's moved on quickly to Ralph Smith. He'll go, oh, we've got a bit of a break here. Mifsud on the burst, if he can pick it up. He's juggled it on the boundary line and just allowed the defender that extra second to come in and stop that forward move.
Tough couple of weeks for the Cannons coming up too, looking ahead at the fixture. They've got the Chargers next week out at Rams Arena on Sunday afternoon, and then come up against the Western Jets. The game also at Rams before they head down to Tassie to take on The Devils back in the competition in 2019.
So the kick towards goal, bringing it back, but just offline. Through for another behind, 96-15. Bit of a blowout here at RSEA Park. Moorabbin for the first of our broadcast games. We've got a double header, of course, today.
We do. Hopefully Chargers Eastern Rangers up next for the Dragons there next couple of weeks. They're back at Trevor Barker Beach Oval next weekend against the Northern Knights. And then we'll head across to Preston City Oval to take on the Chargers on Saturday the 6th of April in round 3 of the NAB League competition. Cannons have worked it towards half forward. Player in a bit of space here is Kemp. Up against the boundary line, didn't lower his vision. He had a player on in the pocket in Gentile. And the Dragons are able to get it out wide. Marnie on the half-back flank comes inboard with the kick. Good communication there from the Dragons. They'll send it towards centre half forward. Ball cut off there by Curtis Brown. That ball intercepted by LaGrice. Pops it over the top. Taking a bounce is O'Leary. Taking 2 bounces is O'Leary. Sets himself for a shot at goal and gets it.
Great play. That's probably almost the play of the day. The Open University's play of the day. Got a few contenders, haven't we?
Certainly have, to go into the plays of the week. Kickstart your education goals by visiting open.edu.au. Plays of the week will be combined across the NAB League boys and girls competitions. Make sure you get ready for those highlights during the week.
Okay.
No doubt you'll be able to find that through the NAB League app. Make sure you download that through the App Store and Google Play, whichever smartphone or tablet device that you have. Overman caught. Get a ball up. In the middle of RSEA Park. High hoping ball from the Cannons. 2-on-1 favours the Dragons. Bobbling around like a hot potato there for Lewis. Another high hoping kick for the Cannons. Kemp set himself, got crunched. Dragons with numbers around the footy. Bowie off half back. Kicks up, cutting across, taking a nice mark is Jeremy O'Sullivan for the Cannons. Plays on. High ball towards centre half forward. Fist involved from Jackson Voss, and he'll collect it here as well. Ball bobbling around, feeding the handball out now, Watts. Further afield for the Dragons. They go inside 50, strong hands. Taken there by Jack Bell. 201 centimetre player for the Dragons. Lining up for his second goal of the game. And does it with ease there. Jack Bell.
Yeah, they've certainly got some scoring options, haven't they, with the 3-prong attack there. Sandringham, they can move around a bit.
And we've mentioned a couple of times how much the schoolboys will impact the Sandringham Dragons squad. Jack Bell, he's finished year 12, so no school commitments for him in 2019.
So we'll get to see a fair bit out of him.
Certainly will. Another one of the Dragons on the AFL Academy list. Played 4 games last year, averaging around 6 touches a game.
So we're back in the middle. This time it was Bowman in the middle. They'll work it forward through Hipwell. I've liked his game. He gets it down towards full forward. Another opportunity, but it bounces over their head through for a behind. 109-15. It's a bit of a shellacking here in game 1. Hopefully the second game's a bit closer. So they'll work it out of their Calder and go very wide, and they've found their man in Calder, Sean Calder. He'll go further down the line, but it's out in the full. And Jackson Voss, who looks a nice type as well, will take the kick in.
Played 7 games last year in the under-18 competition, averaging 15 disposals and 3 tackles a game. Jackson Voss, son of Brent.
A lot of left footers out there today as well. And nicely read out the back that time, Max Simpson with the mark. He'll go inboard. There's a bit of trouble here, but eventually they'll clear it, and did it nicely. Out of sight of the ground, Calder. And Browning with the pass, but they saw that well. Good intercept. It's in the middle with Burns. He knows how to get out of trouble, and they work it inside 50. Calder with the bounce. Should be able to clear here. Just weighing up options, and this pass has to be spot on. The kick was relayed anyway, the push afterwards. So they'll play on through the middle. Ramsey goes wide. Pinpoints Ty Browning. He's had a bit of the footy today. He's got Regili. They'll work it through the middle. Just weighing up their options. And decided to slow down the game for a minute. And that kick was more in hope than anything. And it was nicely taken by Voss. They'll work it clear. They've got Lewis. I've liked his game also. Another left footer. Gives it off with the hand. He's got Watts running very wide. He did that beautifully. And a 30-metre handball pass has spotted up Bergman, who's got a loose man all on his own. So what will we see here, Matt? Is this around the corner shot?
It is, I think.
And it's through the middle.
Charlie Dean with a bit of party tricks there.
Yep, that was his 4th, so he's got 1 in each quarter now. Good bit of work. Not sure why it's required, but they're confident enough to do the around the corner.
Would you have done that in your day, Rick?
Never. From the boundary you would have, Matt, no doubt. But straight in front almost. Unusual.
That's what all the kids want these days, though. A bit of flair, a bit of excitement. And the big man dishing that off there, Charlie Dean. Impressive today in the Sandringham Dragons lineup. Have started 2019 off. A big positive step. Finn McGuinness trying to work his way through traffic has been one of their better players as well. Bell got caught for holding the footy, and a free kick will go the way of the Calder Cannons. We're now at a triple-figured margin too, 100 points. Centuries up for the Dragons. This ball's pushed towards the boundary line on this broadcast side. Handball over the top, was searching for Bergman. Decides to take a bounce off half-back. Takes 2. Flicks the handball inboard. Dragons will load up through Hanrahan inside 50. And again, Charlie Dean wants to give the handball off.
Go back and kick it.
He's just getting a little confident, isn't he?
So he's shooting for his 5th.
It'll ruin his strike rate. 2 in the final term. Only kicked 4 goals last year, so he's already matched that this year, and he slots it through for goal number 5, Charlie Dean. 4 goals across his 9 games in 2018, averaging 12 touches and 4 marks a match. And, well and truly, they're around that today. As the Dragons moved 18-13, 121, leading the Cannons 1-9-15. 6 minutes left in this round 1 clash. A reminder that the Chargers-Rangers match is coming up next through the NAB League official app. Tap won by Courtney. Cannons will end up with the clearance. High ball inside 50. Is cut off. Dragons taking the mark there. Nick Burke flicks the ball wide. Doing well there is Flanagan. Lost control of the footy. Cardillo flicked the handball across to Lukens. Under pressure, Ramsey nearly left it behind. Got it back to Lukens, who goes inside 50 with the kick. Sutton just out of his grasp, has support. Flanagan running past. Sprays it wide. Minor score. Dragons bring it back in quickly. Lewis coughed it up. Kemp lost control of it. High waving the arms, calling play on, then says, give it to me. I will ball it up. Daniel Mott, one of the highly fancied players. 3 handballs, 3 kicks, so 6 touches all up and 1 mark across today.
Yeah, a bit quieter than we expected, but he's a pretty polished player when he gets the footy.
Second in the club best and fairest for the Cannons last season.
Now, they've got a chance here if they can break open Calder, but no, they were too smart. The defenders there are the Dragons, and they work it towards centre wing. They've got numbers here through Mifsud, over to Lewis. He'll get that left foot happening and gets it down, or went over the back of the pack. And we've got a one-on-one here. Bowman works his manner out of it. Handball's back inside. And they're trying to just get it out of there, but they can't. Martin with the clearance towards half-back. And a nicely weighted kick out towards little fella in Bell Bartles. Looking for a lead, and he spots a man up there. Up they go, and a good grab there through Jones, Harrison Jones. He's at centre wing, so he'll look to go towards half forward. Just outnumbered in the air down here. Now they've found it. Got a loose man inside 50, and a nice take, Regaly. He's going to shoot from about 40 metres out directly in front. So yeah, they need this one, don't they?
Certainly do. Oh.
He's passed it, and they've totally mucked it up. Not sure why he passed that.
And the story of their day, really. Should have gone for it, unless he wasn't confident with the distance, but...
It was only 45 at tops.
And not on much of an angle either.
So it's found Hipwell in the back pocket. Been very good all day. Gets it down. That was touched as he kicked it. And a nice take by Bowie. Bowie gets it forward. And don't mind the way this guy moves either. Fisher, McCasey in the back pocket. He gives it over to Goddard. Calder setting up their defence. Out of bounds on 50.
Just having a look at the games that are scheduled across the afternoon and rewinding back to yesterday where the opening round got underway for round 1 of the NAB League. Stingrays winning by 6 points, a late comeback from the Rebels. Just couldn't get over the line in the end, 13-8, 86 to 11-14, 80. As we've mentioned, Rangers Chargers will be up next here at RSEA Park. That match will continue with live coverage through the NAB League app. Also kicking off at 1 o'clock this afternoon out at Rams Arena, we have the Bush Rangers and Gippsland Power as the Dragons, a bit of magic there from Mifsud, I think it was, that just out of nowhere stuck the boot out, put it through. Bit of magic there from Mifsud. He's been exciting in this second half for the Sandringham Dragons. Stands at 188 centimetres, 74 kilos.
He likes the goals by the look of it, doesn't he?
He certainly does.
So we're back in the middle. Only got a minute of this first game left of the broadcast games, a double header. Next game, of course, is Eastern Rangers versus Oakley Chargers.
And just finishing off round one, we've got Falcons and Pioneers down at Colac kicking off at 2 o'clock. And then the Knights and Western Jets from Icon Park at 3:40.
Now, those stats we gave on Mott a bit earlier, he's up to 19. So I think it was for the quarter. So they've taken the ball while we weren't looking and giving Calder a shot on goal here.
Yeah, 50-metre penalty for an infringement.
So Ramsey's got the footy. He's the only goal kicker. And he'll come from 35 out directly in front, and it's a real helicopter through for a behind. So they've kicked 1 goal, 11, Calder.
The siren sounds to conclude the match here at RSEA Park. 9-13, 127. 19-13, 127, the Sandringham Dragons defeating Calder 111-17. A disappointing day for the Calder Cannons, but a dominant display from the Sandringham Dragons, putting their hand up as one of the contenders in the competition for 2019. As we await the players to thank each other. I think we're shortly going to be heading out onto the field with Siobhan Rowe. So just standing by there as we wait. Here we go. We're down now to Siobhan Rowe, speaking on the ground with the skipper, Ryan Burns.
Yes, I'm here with the Sandringham Dragons captain, Ryan Burns. What a dominant way to start the season for the Sandringham Dragons, and a wonderful contribution from you as well today. How did you assess the team's performance?
Yeah, cheers. It was a really good start. I mean, to get the win that big, it really shows that the pre-season work we've put in. We've been working towards this moment, and it's really good to get the reward early in the season.
And as captain of the side, what are your personal goals for this year and your goals for obviously the team overall?
Yeah, look, we've got a really strong side here, something like 9 academy boys. So I don't think there's a ceiling to our potential. So I reckon we could go all the way. And shows like this, it's a really good start to the season. We just got to keep building that team culture, and then we'll be right.
And just quickly, how did you manage the conditions today? Very hot day outside.
Yeah, it was. But look, we train here, so it was really nice to play on the training deck. Yeah, and it's always windy here as well, but like we're used to these conditions, so it's good. We've trained in it, so yeah.
Thanks very much for your time. Good luck for the rest of the year.
Riley Burns there for the Sandringham Dragons, the skipper. An impressive day for him out on the park, Rick.
Yes, he played a great game, and we've got another interview on the boundary, I believe.
Down to Siobhan Rowe.
Personally, you had a great game today with 5 goals. You're also playing in the forward line with the likes of Riley Bowman and Watts. How do you find playing with those guys?
Yeah, they've been awesome. Bowie's come down from the Stingrays and had an unreal year last year, but yeah, I've learned a lot off him, and I think we're really gelling together well. I think we kicked 8 between us today and got a lot of it, and yeah, it's good fun playing with those boys.
And how do you assess the team's performance today? Obviously a huge win and a great way to start off the season.
Yeah, we played really well as a group. We've had a big pre-season, as all teams have, but I reckon we've really gelled together as a team in the pre-season, and today we used the ball really well, but there's still areas to work on, and we know we can play better as well. So.
Speaking of pre-season, what were your goals that you set for yourself in the pre-season?
Yeah, probably to improve sort of my power stuff personally, and then as a team we really wanted to work on our team defence, so having high pressure, which we really had today, especially in the first quarter.
Congratulations on your 5-goal haul, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much to Siobhan Rowe down on the boundary. Quick summary of this match for us, Rick.
Well, I think Siobhan nailed it there. She picked out a couple of the better players that I had listed, with Ryan Burns, who was terrific all day, 4-quarter player. I thought Dean was the best forward with 5 and 6 marks as well. On top of that, Hanrahan was terrific. I liked Darby Hipwell's game as well, the number 51. We could get him a lower number by the end of the year there, Matt. And also some good work by the forwards. Bowman looks like he's slotted into this club beautifully. And also Hanrahan was great throughout. And Bergman across half forward, terrific also.
We'll take a break here from RSEA Park. A reminder that the Rangers-Chargers match is coming up next on the NAB League Live streaming through the app. Make sure you download it through the App Store and Google Play. We'll be back very shortly.